Hey, so I went to do this video the other day, and I did it just to kind of get my thoughts out of my head. But I'm kind of glad that I waited because some things had happened in my home today that really made me realize the I don't know, the importance of what I had heard yesterday or Sunday. I can't even talk. Sorry, it's a little late. Pastor had preached on that God is not a God who leaves you alone, meaning wherever you go, He's there. Whether or not you're walking with Him, whether or not you're away from Him, He's always there. And He is always there tapping you on the shoulder. And sometimes it's this, soft tap. He was walking around with Christian, a friend of ours, and let him walk the stage and stuff like that. And he was just always tapping him on the shoulder. And sometimes, he'd tap him a little harder to try to get his attention and everything. And it kind of made me think, as a mom, about how many times I tell my kids to do something. And I say it nicely the first few times, and a few times later, after they've not done what I've asked them to do, or maybe they did, but majority of the time I only get to raising my mama bear voice, when they haven't done it, and I have told them repeatedly to do something. And it's so funny because my kids are like, you always yell at us. You always yell at us. I'm like, I don't yell at you. It's the fact that y'all don't hear me when I'm quiet. Y'all don't hear me when I'm trying to talk to you in a calm, sweet voice. It takes my loudness or my sternness or my, like I said, my mama bear voice for them to know that I'm really asking you to do this and to do it now. And it made me think that, like Pastor was saying, God's like that. Like, sometimes we're not still long enough to hear Him speaking to us. And a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times what gets our attention the most with God is when maybe storms arise or things happen in our life that are a lot louder than that still small voice, but they get our attention. And that's all God's trying to do. And what had happened tonight that made me happy that I didn't do this video right away was Julius loves video games. And when he is given video games too much, can get an attitude. And he was very disrespectful tonight, not only to me, but to my mother-in-law. And so when my husband had gotten home, he had talked to him about that. And he was like, what stinks the most about him having an attitude is that we want to let him play video games because it's what makes him happy. We know how much he loves it, so we want to let him play. Even though what can be a good thing when it's done too long brings out this angry little kid when he has to get off the computer. And it's so funny because it's like, even though, see if I can bring this around full circle for y'all, even though Garrett and I know that Julius loves it, if we don't, if we always give him what makes him happy, like Garrett had said that, he's like, Julius, we let you play video games and we let you play that because we know it makes you happy. But if we always gave our children things that made them happy, if we always tried in life to make them happy and not always teach them the lessons that they need to learn, then they're going to become brats. Can I say that? They're going to become brats. Like, that's not how they are. I think of my son, and he is the sweetest little boy. But if you give him video games too long, OMG, he is a hot mess. And, he notices when we get on to him and when we discipline him. When we take away video games, like right now, he doesn't get to play them for a while because he was rude. And it's not to punish him. It is, but it's not because we like to do it. It's to teach him a lesson. And so a lot of times, like Pastor was saying, God's going to chase you around, and sometimes he's tapping on you lightly, and sometimes he's got to tap a little harder, and sometimes that tapping might hurt. But it's to get your attention, to keep you on that path that he has planned out for you. That plan he planned out before you were even born, before you were even in your mama's belly. God had a plan laid out for you. And a lot of times, it's not the things in life that make us happy, that allow us to grow. It's the difficulties in life that make us grow. He said last Wednesday that obstacles don't build character, obstacles reveal character. And so a lot of times when things go crazy in our life, it's how we respond to them that is our true character. But yet God is such a gracious God that he doesn't leave us there. He helps us through it, but we have to give him the control. We have to let go of the things that we're trying to make right in our life when God is the one who is asking you to give it to him. God is asking you to obey him. And maybe things aren't looking the way you think that they should, but it could be God getting your attention. So a lot of times, though, we think when things go bad in our life that we're like, oh, why should I serve God now? Like, look what he's doing in my life. Read the book of Job. Pastor Garrett had preached on that the other day. Job literally had everything taken away from him. And in the end, he said, God gives and God takes away I will still praise him. Like, blessed be the name of the Lord. And so just remember, God's not a God who's going to leave you alone. But he will do whatever it takes to get your attention. Just like we have to punish Julius now. Because too much of a good thing is not always good. It can end up ruining you. And a lot of times God may take things away from us because it's not making us the person that we need to be. But those difficulties and those times can create us to be the people and the person that God needs us to be in the next part of our life. If all that makes sense. But remember that just like you as parents, if you are parents, grandparents, just like you don't like punishing your kid, don't like seeing your kid upset because they didn't get what they wanted out of life, or maybe they didn't get what they wanted, for Christmas. It's not always a bad thing. God didn't create us to be happy. He created us to serve him. And sometimes serving him can be difficult because your world could be falling apart. But it's that faith that builds your character. Be blessed.